I start a video before I'm ready. I do this all the time. So no matter where you are when you're listening to this, you might be in your car. I'm gonna just move over there and turn off the fan because it's loud. All right, that's better. So I see you guys are on a thing that really wiggles a lot. I have to make sure not to bump the bench or you guys wiggle. How about that? That's the thing with technology. So, boy, if I even just move the littlest thing, it wiggles. I wonder if I need to fix that. Well, I'm not going to fix it today, so wiggle away. I hope you guys don't get car sick. But, yeah, I came in here. You guys are going to wiggle a lot because I'm going to pull a bunch of boards over here. Yeah, you know, the thing about this work is, it's not as cut and dry as I think it ought to be. It seems like I ought to just be, you know, making boards all the time and just having a pretty quick turnaround. I'm pretty bummed on lead times lately. I'm much slower than I wish I were, and quite a few things involved that keep me from feeling proud about my work. But some of the things that keep me a little jammed up over here are a lot of the peripheral aspects of Jason back. Hello, it's good to see you guys with me. Saw Howard on here, Dave. Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything for Cinco de Mayo. Probably just eat normal meals. But so if you're in your car driving today, or you're listening to this sometime in the future, I'm gonna try to stay on. Oh, you know what? I like your questions. What's that white deck behind you? You mean on the wall, Noah? This white deck back here. This one is. I rode this one for quite a while. This was that first ever prototype of the Friday the 13th board. That's what this is. And actually under this white paint it has all the dimensions written in Sharpie. You can see some of them there. This was the prototype, and every time I do a limited series I keep, so there were only 13 on that Friday the 13th. They were all pressed on Friday the 13th. It was October, and we always keep number 0. So this is number 0, and you can see that the final product was, you know, it's pretty much exact. It's about a ½ inch shorter, and a little bit different. Actually, you know, they're virtually the same. And this deck took me through last winter. I skated it last winter, which basically is fall, winter, and spring. I did some indoor skating with this one during the cold weather. Super bomber deck and a really fun shape, and I like the pocketing and that tail on it. It's a really fun board, this one. And I've got some of Julian's old Hesh rails on there. I don't know if you guys remember Hesh rails, but I like them a lot. They're low, and I'm not a rail connoisseur. I've been hurt before. So, but yeah, that's a fun piece of trivia right there. Yeah, I make shapes like this all the time. In fact, that's one of the reasons for my lead times. What you see on the bench right here, these are Eric Sanders. Let's see, I've got Eric Sanders has a long classic. These I was and then here's a big long gnarly. This is a local pickup. If you happen to be that local customer, this is a big old pig board. This guy measures, just so you can get a feel for it. Boy, I like to talk to you guys about what I'm making. I really do. And I hope I do this more and more, really. Well, this one's a full 10.5 inches wide. And the length on it, this is a full custom pig. I made this nice and long. This is on the long board. This is 34 3/4 inches long. And it's going to have a nice like 7.5-inch tail on it. And the nose, I'm going to let the nose fall where the nose will fall. That's the way I do them. I pocket the tail, let the nose fall where it will. It usually comes out pretty well. Sometimes I need to be a little more calculating on where the front hips are on the nose, especially South Austin Curb Service is particularly picky. So they're not picky, it's just that doing a lot of slappies, you really care where your front foot is in that. Well, you know, this thing wiggling, I want to let you guys know what's going on behind you tech-wise. I just want you to see that I've got this thing and it's long. It's a big long wire thing. And I need to change this. This isn't going to do. Oh, I hear Rocco moving around somewhere. I'm going to put it, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it where I used to put it. But anyway, so doing this stuff is not just a matter of making boards. If it were just making boards, that'd be one thing. But this comes down to maintaining a certain life philosophy. And life philosophies don't come cheap. I've had the bigger work in working in skateboarding in a growing area of skateboard industry. The bigger part of the labor is to keep my head screwed on straight, because I think I'm a less stable person than I would have wished that I were, or that I'd like to tell you guys that I'm super stable. Oh man, now my phone is yelling at me. All right, I put you guys there. Let's see if I jump, if it moves. Not too bad. All right, now I can work on this bench, and you guys don't have to deal with a whole bunch of. Oh, it's a nice view. Do you guys like the view? I like the view on that. All right, so. Over here I've got a big old stack of stuff that I'm making in, I've got a lot of stuff for HOP down in Bradenton, Florida. And, Stupid Fest. Well, I did do a prototype for South Austin. South Austin prototype is in this big stack over here. But let me start with this one. So let caveat emptor, man. Let the buyer beware. This deck, got a guy in Austin, Texas who sends me payment on a custom, and he says, I just want you to think of something I'd like to ride. This guy's been riding my boards for a couple years, and hey, thanks for all your kind comments. I really appreciate it. It's nice. This guy says, Lute, send me something built on 9.5-inch truck beds that you think I'll like skating. And he wanted a certain wheelbase. I think it's a 14.75 wheelbase. So, yeah, 14.75 wheelbase. So, careful now what you ask for, because the nose knows. This is a long-nosed, super front control deck. You can see it's not that radical a nose, but it's got a nice big tail, deep pockets, and the shape is 9.5 at the stabbers. See that? 9.5 at the stabbers. Yeah, that's right. Howard knows who this is for. And then I just generoused the hell out of the nose on it. Like, just went nuts. I don't know how long that nose is right now. When I made it, I did. Let me see what it is. I'm almost embarrassed to say, but I've ridden one before. It's over 8 inches long, that nose. And so 14.75 and the tail. Let's look at what the tail is. It should be like 7.5 at the end of the tail there. Oh no. Yeah, this one's got like 7 and 5/8, almost an 8-inch tail. So this board is a Cadillac. Now, that sounds extreme, but look, don't knock it till you try it. Get out there and smash this bad boy. And if it's too strange or something like that, you got some choices. One of them is that I guarantee satisfaction. It is my belief that you will love the hell out of riding this thing. 9.5 at the truck beds, 14.75 wheelbase, generous tail, generous nose, and the odds are really high. It's going to make you feel terrific when you ride it. There just aren't boards like this out there. And that's this one's a level 2 custom on the site. Like if you want to work one up, I love making these. And that was a favorite thing this week. It is. I think it's really a fun deck. It's got a really fun shape to it. It's just not being done because, well, I don't know why, because I'm not the other guys. I just know it is done because I'm here. I've got a prototype of the South Austin curb service shape. Mr. Wren and I have been collaborating on a curb-friendly board. This has got 14.5 and 15-inch double drilled front, and you can see this is a standard issue utility weapon of street destruction. It's just a solid plank, and Fickle's making South Austin curb service. Soon to be a Midwest blue collar brand, and so stoked on what's going on in South Austin, and was so grateful for all of the enthusiastic and supportive people in South Austin, and Houston, and Dallas, and Wichita Falls, and I think that Texas is incredible, and riding my motorcycle through Texas is always super humbling. So we've got a nice double drill, and this one has not got a symmetrical nose and tail, but it's close. This is a curb. I like Noah Baxter just said curb hammer, and what a great name for it. So you've got a double drill at 14.5 and 15, and your tail is a standard 7. Now tails used to be 6.5 all through the 90s, 6.5-inch tails, and I started with a 6.75 tail back in 2008 when I was made by an OEM, and my OEM guaranteed me nobody wanted a tail that long. Well, I'm out at 7 inches right now, and when I want to make something that really, it's fascinating once you dial in the pop on like a long tail. It's just mwah. So 7-inch tail, and on 14.5. On a 14.5-inch wheelbase of the two, it's got a 15 and 14.5. Your nose is 7.25. I like a wee bit longer nose than the tail, although the utility of that is dubious. Did you hear that? The utility of that is dubious. I'm just not sure how. Yeah, 6.75 tail. Thanks, Noah. Noah is a board maker out of the Northwest. No, where are you out of? And oh, Terre Haute. I like the idea of riding out to Terre Haute, skating, stay overnight, and then come back. I like that. Sunday Fun Days. Thanks, Tommy Story. Good to see you on here too. But that's another deck I was making, and then I've had actually quite a few of these. I have a goodly stack of this board going out. This is my 9-inch bullnose, 9-inch bullnose. This is a 9-inch popsicle with a 15-inch wheelbase, and for everything from downhill sliding to bull riding to street, this thing is an all-terrain murderer. 7-inch, 15-inch. It's 9 inches at the truck beds, and it's got a generous nose. Look at that nose on there. No apologies given for a 7.25-inch nose on this thing. I really like making these. I got quite a few of those in the stack over there. I'll show you that. If you've ordered a 9-inch bull nose, yours is in the pile because this is everything. Let's see here. These are all stamped with the future owner's name, and I've been corresponding with one young person. I presume you're young. You seem young to me, and I love talking to you out of Jersey Shore. That's getting one of those 9 inches, and another in Austin. I got another one here that's a custom, and see, these are pan heads. This is a 9-inch pan head. The pan head is dope. I love pan heads. It's a great shape. The large has a 15-inch wheelbase, and I think the small has a 15 too. Large is for 9-inch trucks, and the small is for 8.5s. Right here we've got a custom. Oh no, what this is Bob Lofton's board. This is a knucklehead, and he's getting the cat graphic on this. Now I've gone to offering multiple graphics. See, that's some of the behind-the-scenes work that David and I have been working up our social media approach and trying to get the word out about what we're doing, because our goal is to really have more running through. Can you all understand that the more orders I have, this is a little counterintuitive, but when I'm making batches of 20, my tendency is to save up a few orders and get them into a batch so that I'm paying attention and I'm in one place while I'm making them. It's not what I prefer that I would do. I wish I would come in here and just make a single board every day, but I like 5s, I like 10s. 20s are good. I really, I have had days where I made 60 boards. Those were huge days. I mean, and oh, I'm getting a knock at the door. I wonder who it is. Hey, everybody. Hey.
I just realized who you are.
Who am I?
You own Fickle. You know John Brumley?
Yeah.
He's a really good friend of mine.
Right on. I'm Lou.
Lou! I wanted to say Lee or Luke or something.
Yeah, right on. Hang on, everybody. I'll be right there.
That's crazy.
I got a live feed going, so maybe you don't want to step in, but you want to see the shop?
Oh, yeah. I gotta run my buddy to work in like 2
Cool.
minutes.
It's nice to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll talk to you. Yeah, I'll play touch
Do
with
you
you.
ride skateboards?
I'm trying to learn.
You have a good one?
No, I don't have a board.
As you can see, it's a skateboard making workshop right here.
That's what I just
Yeah.
realized.
So like this is what I do in here all day long.
Yeah, your neighbor, he just moved in. I work with him at
Henry.
Senate. Yeah, Henry was telling me, he's like, you know what he does? He makes skateboards. And I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Yeah.
I know I recognized you
Right
from
on.
somewhere.
What's your first name?
I'm Sierra.
Sierra.
Like the mountains or the soda.
Totally.
Yeah.
Or the club.
Yeah.
Right on,
And
Sierra.
Forrest Hagedorn,
Yeah,
he skated for you too a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
he sure did.
Yeah, he was my boyfriend at some point in
Forrest
time.
was killing it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a gnarly dude. He skates whack,
He's
man.
a fire that burns bright.
I loved watching him.
Right on,
skate.
Sierra. Well, come back and get a skateboard sometime.
I will definitely help you for
Check
that.
us out online. Hey, is that Henry?
Hello.
Henry, do you want to come in for a tour?
I would love to. I'm
Yeah,
on my
he's
way
on.
to work.
Have a good day at work. Good. I want you to come in and get a tour soon.
Yeah.
Alright, we're coming back for a tour.
See you, Sierra. See you, Henry.
Alright.
Thanks for dropping by. Hey, everybody. Sorry about the interruption. I don't expect that everybody hung in there for that. There's still 8 of you. That's really cool. New tenant in the building. This is a residential building. I don't know. I mean, I'm loud. I mean, I'm running tools in here. But anyways, oh, hey, Chris Gurley, thanks for saying about the bullnose. Right. So, love that knucklehead. You can't complain. And then I've got an assortment of other boards here and a nice stack of the House of Pawn HOP decks that we did the custom graphic for them. Fickle doing House of Pawn. You guys have probably seen the graphic. They're all blue tops for House of Pawn so far. Don't do a lot of blue tops, and I'm going to be frank with you. I think I talked about it a little while back. Dyed plies are they're not super different, but I notice I think I'm a little bit neurotic, right? In fact, I think I'm quite neurotic. In fact, I think that a good deal of my personal lead time problem has quite a bit to do with the neuroses that are common to entrepreneurs in a real solo operation. Almost everything in skate is shrinking, really, and it's really weird watching good people struggle and watching things. And a lot of you guys know that I haven't held back from from critiques and from perspectives about things that have been, at times controversial, and maybe will be less controversial as time goes on. But I think I put some of these up while we're talking. But anyway, there's not a lot that I've said in the past that I feel I can really back off of. We're seeing the results of a lot of, we're seeing the consequences of a lot of really standard market dynamics. And it makes me sad because the people in the skateboarding industry are really good people. I mean, there are a lot of good intentions is what I mean. I don't think that a single thing has been done in skateboarding out of purely bad intention, at all. I don't think people have bad intentions in skateboarding. I think they, those of us who are in it, we tend to see what we do as being done for the good of other people. And it is perhaps for that very reason that we have excused ourselves in some practices and some ethics that have led to the demise of our, and other stuff is going on that is not. Floyd Howard Pruitt. Floyd, did you see me talking about your boards? Because we're shipping you out boxes of boards. Panhead Streets, 8 inches and 825s, and some 8.5s are coming your way early next week. And I was just talking about them, Floyd. And we're going to go ahead and send you a couple boxes. And then I'm really glad we're talking here, Floyd, because you don't like texts and I don't like phone calls, and I've been grateful for David keeping in touch with you. But we're going to send you a few boxes, and then with the balance of what you've got ordered, just tell us what you'd like if you have any specific things. Otherwise, we'll just keep shipping you good crap. And although there is one I'm a little excited about. I'm glad Floyd jumped in, guys, because I want you guys to see this too. This board is not really that small. It's 825. Look how small it looks compared to some of the others. It's 825, and it is a template that doesn't get much use here. It's kind of like the classic. But something that I've wanted to make is sort of a 90s football shape for a long time. And this is like a 90s football with just a wee bit more corner in the tail. But I really like this shape for a maybe a smaller person, maybe a street rider. But this one's going in with Floyd so he can see it and see how he likes it. I love getting feedback from Floyd. If you guys don't know Floyd Howard Pruitt in Bradenton, Florida at House of Pawn. House of Pawn is a dope-ass pawn shop that I loved and bought a motorcycle helmet and a lighter when I was there. But Floyd is a beating heart of skateboarding and loves you and loves skateboarding and wants you to enjoy it. And Floyd has some of the most amazing collectible boards I've ever seen in my life. And so boards like this are coming to Floyd really soon. And we really want you to get a chance to be introduced to the stout, gnarly wood that comes out of here. I tried, Floyd, I tried to make you a football. What I did was I took my offering toward football, but still directional. I told David that the origins of the football shape were not the origins of most of my shaping. And, Dagner Pipes out of Eustis, Florida. Dagner Performance, Dagner Pipes, Jason Dagner. He rides a football shape, and I approached him about prototyping him he rode for Creature and some other things. Dagner's one of the coolest guys, one of the coolest injury recovery stories. Floyd Howard Pruitt has an amazing injury recovery story as well. I love those. And Jason Dagner had both of his legs smashed in an accident and has rehabbed himself, and he rips so hard. Harder than I do. I'm a soft skater. I like to just fly around. I am not a trick guy. but I'll tell you, Jason Dagner is a trick guy, and Floyd he's a fly around like me, and Floyd took me to a dawn session at the Bradenton Riverwalk Skate Park, and that is a great memory for me. Thanks, Floyd. But anyways, I don't have a lot more to show you because there are a lot of doubles and stuff, triples and quadruples in that. But I guess I'll run this down. This is the smaller of the two official panhead sizes, and this one is 8.5 at the trucks. It swells to about 8.75, and as you can see, it's a narrower view than the larger panhead, and it is got a 14.5 wheelbase. Am I right? On Floyd's, I made them with a 14.5 wheelbase. I think yeah. And the reason I put them on 14.5 is because you got a lot of kids and street rippers out there. I have to look and see real quick. What is the wheelbase on the website for that? I feel like the panheads might be all 15s. Let's pull them up. Boy, I'm really glad to have a chance to talk to all of you today. Just if you're listening to me, maybe in your car, I know this is a very visual that we're doing, and I'm not talking about big ideas. I'm just going through some of the stuff that I did this week, and just pulling up panheads here real quick. Cancel that. Stock decks. I go into the stock decks, and then I pull down panhead. On the pull down, it clicks through, and here we are, panhead 8.5. I click it. And that's the other thing is I don't root around enough. We've been working on our website. We've added a choice of graphics to the website. And let's see, wheelbase. Yeah, the official panhead 8.5. By the way, our picture on here, you can see this is the kind of stuff we really need to fix. This picture, let me see if you guys can see it. This picture is a lot more, it's distorted because it has a more like round nose on it. But you can see that the panhead 8.5 has got a really cool, more narrow nose on it. I'm going to see what we can do to get that picture to line up better. These are the kind of things that, you're paying attention to. I'm not blaming them, but I'm looking forward to like a better rhythm. And hey, I am so happy you're here, Amy. I saw some of your earlier comments, and my heart is with you. Also, I'm not sure if I owe you shipping on that hat, but I haven't forgotten it. I saw that. Anyway, I want to let Amy Estelle know that I still want to make sure that she got the shipping. We did attempt at least to send you the shipping on that, but if you didn't get it, you just message me and let me know, because we don't want to gyp you at anything. Amy sent me the dopest hat yet. It's a straw hat. Not as tough as my felt hat, which I could ride while I was on the Harley. The straw hat wants to completely fold in half at 60 or 70. Oh, good. Thank you, Amy. I'm so glad that the shipping went through. That's a load off my mind. Amy is the bass player for Bob Wayne. Bob Wayne is, guys, I don't know if you're into Hank 3 or Outlaw Country, but Bob Wayne has got a serious songwriting gift along the Outlaw Country vibe. And I'll tell you, that has been a blessing to me because, dude, sometimes you just need some Outlaw Country in the workshop. Am I right? I know I'm right. So, in fact, you know what I wanted to do a lot of times is have a little music playing. I'm going to just pull up Bob Wayne right now and enjoy a little bit of that. Bob Wayne, clicking the artist. And I listened to all the albums, and I think I think Outlaw Carney was one of my favorite of the albums. They're all really good. Guys, get your Bob Wayne on guys. And he's not related to Bruce Wayne at all. But well, this was just a workshop check-in. Haven't finished the Stupid Fest. Never was template yet. It perhaps Neurosis. But it was weird. I just didn't, like, I usually zero in on something and I just can do it. And if I'm not feeling it, it's hard to do. And then, so I usually try to push what'll move, and then when that stops moving, I'll push what'll move there. This is kind of the curse of, but some of the things that I field and have to figure out, and I spend a lot of time and energy trying to figure out is, like if someone orders like 200 boards from me as they want to start a brand, you know, I can't really do that because it'll change what we're trying to build. And oh, Maddie Tramp asked me a good question. How do I template my boards? Well, first thing I have to say about templates is that I template my boards in plastic. I'm about to show you guys. And let's see here. Oh, I just got a question online too. I like this AMA, you know, ask me anything. So I use plastic for all my templates. Here are some of the ones I was just using in the last day or two. I use floppy plastic. I got my floppy plastic from a bottling company that was closing down or moving or something, and I got a line, and I drove my minivan over there, and we loaded out a bunch of this plastic. Turns out plastic is really heavy. We had a stack about this deep, and the wheels were almost touching. And that was the day I learned I was pretty dumb and drove away anyway, proving myself to be just that dumb. It did not ruin my minivan. Wound up selling it to a guy years later, and it's still running today. But I use floppy plastic, and the way it works is I start with a big sheet of plastic. I start with a big sheet of plastic, and I make a shape, and I cut a half template. See that? And so this is just half of the board shape. The rest of it's not finished. And then I take that half, and sometimes I'll actually make half. And then I take that and I double trace it onto a fresh sheet. And that gives me a more symmetrical. Also, you have to just shake it out because you're not going to have a perfectly symmetrical anything. There are board makers who are making really, really symmetrical stuff, and you have all my respect and honor for the effort and the precision you're putting into what you're doing, and I have nothing but respect for those who work extra hard to get things symmetrical. But I've been in enough places now. I've been inside factories, and I've been inside workshops. I've been inside hand workshops and CNC workshops, and I've seen that there is not a direct correlation between high precision machinery or high precision efforts and symmetry. What I do is I flop that and I get a double, and then that gives me a working shape. I'm cutting it the whole time with knives. You guys know that I really appreciate when somebody hand makes a knife out of a 100-year-old file and sends it in here. And I use these things. This will be a trim knife. This is made by Ben Winchester, and he used some of the scales. He built the scales out of one of my old boards. And my main cutting knife is, I was just using it a lot this week. My main cutting knife is this beautiful scribe knife from D. Kistner Knives. And not only did he use a piece of one of my boards to make it, but he also etched Fickle in the blade with just a nice little handmade etching. And this one gets resharpened a lot. It's sharpened on a wedge, and this is the one I use to cut that plastic. Now, I do prefer it to a utility knife. And you can see how similar. Do you guys see how utility knives? You see how utility knives are based on the old traditional scribe knives? Isn't that cool? Look at the similarity in shape that you get, and that was because that was what that was because of. Jared Nelson asks, are you opposed to getting a machine to cut boards one day in your shop? Jared, I just love you, dude. Your enthusiasm and the effort and investment and energy you put into your outfit are inspiring to me. No, I'm not opposed to getting some freaking good machinery. I'm not. I do not have my nose in the air. That is not the case. But I do have my pockets turned inside out. I'm in year 10 of doing this, and it is... at first I used rudimentary tools because rudimentary tools were all I could afford. And I still use rudimentary tools because rudimentary tools are all I can afford. I think if I were a man of greater wherewithal and maybe greater drive or perhaps better, less neurotic tendencies, I think I would be more successful. But I'm not a person of those characteristics. And so I continually run things on lo-fi technologies. And so, no, I'm not against using machinery. I am critical of the position that those machineries produce superior products. It's been my observation that high fidelity, expensive machinery. Let me give you an example. One thing I do struggle with is the glue rolling machine. I've seen a lot of, half-board templates, Matty Tramp. They're great. But listen, guys, on symmetry, can I give you a tip? After I'm 10 years in of doing symmetry, my buddy with the CNC table was cutting boards that did not have good symmetry. It's because I counted, I think, 8 points of articulation between the computer and the arm. And the geometry that was being used in the shop at that time, I wasn't a fan of that program either. It didn't put the hips in the places where I would put them by eye. And it was in that visit that I came to appreciate, I really respect the effort and the cost, the investment that goes into such machines. And I also, but I saw that unless you're a really amazing intellect, which I suspect is the case with Jared Nelson at Drang Boards, I think that Jared Nelson at Drang Boards is an amazing intellect, because I see he's sharing awesome photographs of his design product. And I love that Cody Adam Myers is sending me messages while I'm on here. Cody Adam Myers, if you're watching, I use the same concave for all my boards because I don't have a reason. There's a bundle of reasons, and I hope you love it. It's deeper in the back and more mellow in the front. So it's very deep in what I call the break zone of the tail. Why am I using my hands? I'll just pick up any board I'm making. In fact, I'm going to pick up Cody Adam Myers' board. Here it is. This is Cody's board right here. Cody's sending me messages, and I'm going to hold his board up. It's a beautiful 9-inch bullnose. It's one of the bullnoses that I put through this week. And your board is about to go in paint. That means it's going to get its graphics and its final coatings. All of the blue boards have to have their top coat done. Oh, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Because that blue ink has got to be... Jared, I think that the human eye is often more accurate than machines because machines have to be maintained meticulously. Whereas the human eye, our bodies heal themselves and develop themselves. And so there's a high degree of accuracy. That said, I feel that I fall far short of perfect. I did come in the crosshairs of some strong critics, and one strong critic. And I have to say that he's absolutely right. You will find my boards are not perfect. Please, destroy them. Destroy the board with your skateboarding. And if you fail to have a tremendous amount of fun, and if that board fails to more than satisfy you, I will comp you out. I will take care of you myself. But human numerical control for the win. So Jared, I didn't finish your question. I am really, really happy with better technologies, but I said better technologies. Glue machines, I'm not interested. I massage that glue in. on every deck, and that's one step I just cannot see how to automate, because every veneer is different unless we pre-sand them, and I've already done a lot on pre-sanding ruins the contiguous fiber of wavy plies, and so you get, boards are lighter and they're floppier now, and some people that's a win. I'm not your guy if you're looking for a board that's really whippy and breaks more easily. I'm your guy if you're looking for stout, strong. They don't tend to be actually heavier, but stout wood that has great concave, I'm your guy. But so real quick, let's finish symmetry. Symmetry, you got to shake it out and you have to accept it. And what you do is you make the boards, and then you make some more, and you make some more, and you keep on making boards, and you hope that you're getting better. And maybe you make some tools, but the thing I really wanted to say about outer line symmetry is, look, you go into a skate shop, all of you skateboard makers, go into a skate shop and pull down 10, 20 boards, and you measure the distance from the truck holes to the edge. You measure their symmetry. You measure how far off the truck holes are. And then you're going to see that you guys are actually doing often better than the high yield factories are doing. And this comes back to a lot of the issues around maintenance of these high output machines. That said, you're not going to be perfect. There's a margin of error on every product, and warp and weft is part of laminate carpentry. I had to learn this over years and years. I've been involved in laminate examination for 30 years because I've been looking at my boards for a long time. And what I've found is your deck is going to have some warp and some weft to it, unless it has no concave, which is a common antidote. Popsicle shapes and very low concaves are a great way to ensure a more evidently uniform product. They're not actually uniform, it's just that the lack of hips and the lack of depth and the lack of real bottoming, those things are not as easily seen when the boards are really flat. This is also less concave and less contour means that you can stack them more deeply in the molds without losing, somebody called me, I had to decline it. So on symmetry, the thing I'm really proud of is that I put the holes in last. Now, very few people do this. I started doing it from the beginning. I just couldn't see how I could drill them fresh out of the press and take them through all of the sanding and everything, and then have my holes still centered. I just couldn't see it. Now, there's a hope that using like a more robotic system will do it, or that your system of jigs will keep you from it. But the last thing I do is over here on this beautiful, wonderful sanding tool. And buddy, I can't say that I'm not going to be, off a little bit after I do one side, and I got to get it to the right roundness. Well, when I'm trying to achieve that roundness and that soft edge, maybe one side might need to do a little more on than the other side. So that's why I center my holes last. And that the other secret is I don't actually center the holes. The holes are not what's centered. My centering is done at the center of the truck's base plate. That's why, if the edge line isn't quite uniform, you can wind up with like 1/10 of an inch off or a 1/16 of an inch off. But my question I'm always asking at the axle of your board, have I succeeded in centering your wheels on your board? And that's what I'm working for over here. And I don't know anybody like me, but I do think there will be more, because my real mission, and this is one thing that jams me up in the workshop as well, my real mission is for more people to understand the value of not only small batch craft made wood, but also small batch shaped wood, like folks who get something like Noah Baxter gets his decks from Valley of Sickness, although Noah is working on a little secret project that I'm very, very interested in. Mike Villalobos, he's got a new press and he's pressing. Steve Coy in Kentucky is pressing. Jeremy Ferris, Swamp Trog Skateboards, he's pressing. These guys are amazing. And I think that skateboarders are better served by wood that's made like that. And I also don't understand, like there's nothing about making skateboards that has any crazy EPA bullshit involved with it, unless you're using super fast drying glues that need a hood and emit fumes, which there's no need for super fast drying glues. And they don't make superior skateboards. I have seen them make inferior skateboards many times. And so I think it would be terrific if skateboarders could buy their boards from people who are in their own country, in their own state, or even in their own town, who are directly accountable to them for the quality of their boards. I'm happy that my local orders are upticking. You got to understand, guys, that for saying these things, it's not hard to make some people in this industry really mad, and boy, I have pissed off a lot of people by talking like this. So, Phoenix Skateboards, I see you on here. If you're pressing your own wood and doing your own process, please join the makers movement. Anybody who's watching, if you're pressing your own wood, or if you're a shaper, shapers are welcome as well. If you're pressing your own wood, if you're shaping your own brand, or if you are now, if you're screen printing on blanks, I would wish for you to be using an American-made wood. I really don't like when things get uncomfortable like that. I don't mean to make it uncomfortable, but I have got some opinions on me. I got a big pair of opinions. But where were we? We finished with symmetry. Drill your holes last, do your very best, and keep trying. And I guarantee you, you're trying harder than they are in some factory somewhere where some poor schlep is at a wheel for like 15 hours, and I'm sorry, and they're getting paid pennies on the dollar. In fact, I was actually at an event recently, and there was a big board maker there, and he was bragging about how little he has to pay the workers who make the boards in Mexico for his ginormous distribution. And he was saying, like, he can beat out everyone because he doesn't have to pay these workers anything. And I just couldn't believe he was saying it near me, because I think that he probably knew I was listening. I was right there, and everybody knows I'm a shit talker, if indeed this is shit talk, but I don't think it is. I think this is talking about the shit we all should care about. That said, machinery, tools, I really, thing is, someone offered me a glue machine for 20 grand, and there aren't 2 grand, you know? I mean, we're making rent on the studio, wood, glue, and barely enough for a living stipend is the present level. Now, if I would get my shit together and try to popularize what I'm doing a little more, maybe you all can help me by telling folks about what I do or ordering a board yourself. If I would be a little more of a marketer, I think I'd be able to buy machinery and like that. But all of this for 10 years with no investors. There have been helpful people along the way. I started this on an inheritance, and it's been rolling. But I think that this is the future of skateboard making. I think at least it's a bigger portion of skateboard making in the future than it was. I talked to you guys for a long time right now, and I just wanted to check in and show you what's on the benches. So I had a really good time with you. And I'm going to take off now. I'm going to go and ride my motorcycle to a skate park and ride my skateboard. I don't have a filmer, and I hate crushing my soul by filming myself skateboarding. I probably should get over that. But I just can't. I don't get it, man. Set up a tripod, and just not my scene. I'm, like I said, neurotic. So neurotic. But better to be neurotic than erotic. No, I much prefer erotic. Anyway, God bless every one of you, and but monogamous. But I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day. I'm going to shut things down here. Jason, I know I'm wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Thank you guys for joining me. And so I'll be going through paint. I'll be in here for at least 2 hours tomorrow. I'm hoping to do some skating, and I'll probably be here till late tomorrow night finishing up all these. And that's today's installment. You guys also know like how you got YouTubers, and then the YouTubers are always worried about their ad money. Do you guys ever notice that? Like, yeah, I'm sorry I won't be at Canis Bash this year. It's not working. Happily I have enough orders to keep me home. But I said the queue was clear, but then it's not clear now because more orders coming in. So I'm happy about that too. But I have a YouTube, and I always load these onto YouTube, and it feels like I just got to get over it, man. But I probably need to do a podcast and a YouTube thing, and because we've got a lot of things to talk about as people who care about skateboarding. Oh, look who's here. Is that Rocco? Come here, buddy. Come say hi to everybody before we leave. What do you guys think? There's my guy. Come on up, Doc. Come here. Come here. Are you my baby? Are you my baby? Hey, everybody. Look how sad he is. He's so sad. Why are you so sad? Huh? Are you sad because I'm sad? Is that what it is? Love you, dude. All right, I'm gonna load out of here. Thanks, guys. Bob Wayne, Rocco the dog, Fickle Skateboards, and Midwest Blue Collar. So I have and the Makers Movement. We've got something shaking over at the Makers Movement. You can only join it if you message me and prove to me that you're making. That's the only way you can be a contributor in the Makers Movement. If you want to know why, it's because we tried to start a Makers Movement page before, and some really bad things happened from people joining like crazy. I wasn't running that one, but it got hectic, and we really want to make sure we keep things encouraging. So hit me up with more questions, guys. Maybe I should do another AMA session with you guys. And thanks for being with me. Thanks for making everything less lonely. You guys are the reason why I'm here. Thanks again.